So I had some fried Chinese food. It happens in a while, you have to indulge. And I was with friends and nobody wanted to take it home because it was just so sweet and it was fried and it's not necessarily the healthiest thing for you. So I said, well, all you have to do is just add some vegetables and make it a whole new dish, and you can make it much better the day after. So this is what I'll show you. Or don't judge me for having eaten this, okay? So this is a typical Chinese takeout box. This is the leftovers. It's called Jingdu Paiku, which is basically meat that's been deep fried, and then they put a super sweet sauce to it. And it's delicious, but you can't have a whole plate, and this is just certainly way too much than anyone should really have on a regular basis. But you can make this a little bit healthier by doing a couple of things. So I'll show you how to take leftover Chinese food and make pickled vegetables that we saw in the grocery store earlier that was already prepackaged but only requires a couple of ingredients that you can make at home and put the whole meal together so you can see what it all looks like and make it into something delicious. We'll get started. Pickled vegetables. So I've got some carrots. This is the Daikon that we saw in the grocery earlier. They're white and shiny. And then I just have some other colored carrots here. I already washed them. We're going to just shave them down. Sometimes what I do is to get a bag and then just shave right into here. You can do all your cutting later on. That way everything falls into the bag. You don't have to worry about cleaning it up later. So this you can also do with kids if they don't know how to use a knife yet, and that way they don't hurt their fingers. I prefer using a pear than something like a mandolin because I feel that the mandolin often is inviting trouble with the blade and being very, very careful. And then this is the Daikon, so it's white inside and it's crunchy and it's used very often to accompany Asian foods. And generally what they pickle is, as with any pickles, some kind of vinegar and often sugar. So you've got your sweet and sour combination there. And now all my shavings and scraps are all taken care of. So let's wash this. And I can cut the ends off. I can cut them in any little shape I want, little medallions like that. Cut it in half, which gives you a more stable base. Cut them into half circles. It really doesn't matter, but obviously the more shaved they are, the more the pickling juice will penetrate into the vegetables. And what we had seen in the grocery store before was basically they cut it in half, and then now you have your half shape, and then they cut strips like this. Another way you can do it that takes more time, but you can also shave it. Again, you can use a peeler, which might be the easiest way, and you can get these long strips. And I can do that with carrots too. And if you want to use purple carrots, that's also fun. And notice it's yellow and orange inside, so it might be fun for kids to play with different colored carrots so that they're getting some vegetables in their diet and it's fun to look at. For Asian pickles, usually what they do is use rice vinegar and they add sugar. So there's a proportion of vinegar and sugar. You can play around with the proportions. If you don't want to play around with the proportions and have something already pre-made, then this is already seasoned. So look for sushi vinegar or seasoned vinegar. This one says seasoned vinegar. If you're really not sure what kind of vinegar you're getting, whether it's already seasoned or not, then just look in the ingredients and it'll say rice vinegar and sugar. So the ideal way is to make it yourself and add your own sugar and vinegar together, but you know, just as a quick way to have something already pre-made for you. And all you have to do is take these vegetables, throw it in there, and just fill it up with your pickling juice. This is essentially your vinegar. If I wanted to add white vinegar, if you don't have rice vinegar, then You can also use regular plain vinegar is fine too, and that way you can also adjust the sweetness. So it really doesn't matter which vinegar you use. This is going to be a little bit more acidic, but either is fine. It's just a vinegar pickling juice, and you can add sugar to it. And I'll put some of these shaved vegetables in it, and I'll have that for a little bit later. Let it absorb. Make sure you have enough room, fill it up. This is also the seasoning that they use for sushi rice as well. So it's basically a combination of sugar, rice vinegar, sometimes they use mirin or rice wine, and voila! You've got pickled vegetables. We've got some pickled carrots and daikon, radish, in a sweet and sour pickling juice, and we can just put it in the refrigerator and have it go out and take it out anytime we want something refreshing. So that's how you make pickled vegetables, and you can certainly buy it in the grocery store, but you can make it yourself for pennies on the dollar. Okay, so one is you can just add a bowl of rice to it. That would be the easiest thing to do, is just eat it with a bowl of rice. And this is certainly a lot of pieces that you can cut it up smaller in just one piece and add some vegetables. Boom, there you've got a meal. And I wouldn't eat all of this. I would just take one piece and eat it with rice and vegetables and pickles, and you've got a whole meal itself. There's one option. So you've got your sweet, sticky, fried, not so great food. Pair it with something that is fresh. Edamame here, I've got some pickled vegetables with a bowl of rice. You don't really need all of this. You just need a couple of pieces. So that's one thing. But I thought that maybe we'd try something interesting and make this appetizing in an elevated form. Instead of all that rice, we're just going to use a spring roll that's made of rice. So in the meantime, I'm going to not eat all of that meat, but I'm going to take just one slice. You see this in spring rolls. No flour is used. It's just almost like a cellophane sheet. So we're putting some hot water, and it becomes very pliable. So this is hot water that you want to use, and it becomes really sticky, and so you want to be careful as it loosens up. But this is, look how soft it is. So it's very gauzy, so you want to be careful with that. Lay it down, and it almost disappears. And to add some more fiber and a little bit more vegetable to it, because this is so sweet, I'm going to use some arugula leaves. You can use any vegetable really, but I'm just going to put a little bit of that in here, just so that it'll cut the bitterness of the arugula. And I can even use some pickles to it. This has already been seasoned, and that'll add a nice tartness to it. And then you can add your little pieces of meat, and if you want a little bit more, but this will already be a bite full. It's hard and very stiff, and if you don't handle it, it's going to crack. So that's why we put some hot water to loosen it up and let it sit there a little bit. You can put it all in, but you just want to make sure that you do one at a time. Again, I'm going to add some greens to it to add a little bit of bitterness, because it's really too sweet. Fresh pickled vegetables in it just for some color as well. Instead of the whole pieces of pork cutlets, I've already sliced this so that you only have a couple of slices, and then you're not totally indulging. Roll it. So take one edge, wrap it up. Everything is fairly sticky, so you just want to make sure you do it very gently, and fold up the edges like this so that that's all tucked in. This side is all tucked in, and it sticks to each other as well. And just roll the rest up. And there you have it, little spring roll. And there you have it. Something that was leftover Chinese fried, sweet, gooey, sticky food, and making a little bit healthier and delicious for the very next day. All right? And tell me what you think would be good options for making Chinese food the next day, even better than when you originally got it. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.